Hello again, it is Bailey here, and I am here to talk to you today about dark romance. My favorite genre besides fantasy romance, but we're not talking about those today. We are talking about dark romance, okay? Okay, I am going to give y'all a whole bunch of different recs, darkest of the dark, lighter dark romance, and kind of in the middle. But before we get into that, I do want to touch on the fact that if you do not know what dark romance is, please always check your trigger warnings before you read. I know a lot of people don't, but me personally, I like to know what I'm getting into. I do not want to be mad that I'm reading something that I did not expect. And also, I cannot tell you how many times someone has said, well, it's dark romance, why don't you just go watch it? Or, you know, it just must be all spice. No. Let me correct you, okay? Dark romance means heavier topics. All right, topics that are not normally discussed in things like contemporary romances, rom-coms, stuff like that. All right, so you get to deal with these heavy hitting topics that a lot of people in real life go through and they don't really get it resolved. So I feel like it's very healing for a lot of people to read dark romance. I know it's been healing for me. I adore this genre. And I've also found a lot of different subgenres of dark romance, like thriller dark romance or mystery dark romance and things like that. And it just makes it so much more fun. So if you are thinking about getting into it, I do advise you check your trigger warnings, know what you can handle, all of those things. My first dark romance, I really went into the deep end. I did not know to check your trigger warnings, okay? And I read Haunting and Hunting Adeline and Den of Vipers first. Actually, it was Haunting Adeline because Hunting Adeline was not out yet. Hunting Adeline was, that was a lot. That was a lot, okay? But I really just immediately loved the genre. Dark romance is one of my favorite genres of all time, and it keeps getting better and better. And there are so many amazing books that are in the dark romance genre. And I really think everybody should try it at least once. So yeah, we should get into it. We are going to start out with the lighter end of dark romance. So this is what I like to call beginner dark romance. At least this is what I think is beginner. You may not think it, but I think it. For beginners, I think that this is a really good place to start for beginners, and it is going to be Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. Okay, this book follows Charlotte, and I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much I can say without spoiling, and I do not want to accidentally spoil it for y'all. But it follows Charlotte, and Charlotte goes through a tragedy whenever she is younger, and there is a forbidden romance aspect to it. There's also a spicy scene in this book that makes me question my morals. So it's very sad, okay? I was in fact reading this at work and I did cry. That was really embarrassing. But on the other hand, it's not like murdery heavy. It's not like torture heavy. You know what I mean? It's just emotionally heavy. So I really think this book would be a good place to start to see if you like the genre. Parker S. Huntington did a wonderful job. She really makes you feel the emotions. I will say that about Parker S. Huntington. She makes you feel, okay? Feel. And sometimes you just want to feel. And then we've got Nocticadia by Kari Lake. Kari Lake is one of my favorite authors. I will instantly buy anything that she writes. I have liked and enjoyed and loved every single one of her books that I have read. Okay, and this one just so happens to be my favorite of hers. So in this one, we follow a woman. She is in college and she gets this full ride scholarship to an island to study this parasite. And it just so happens to be this parasite that killed her mother. Yeah, you following? So she's like, okay, this is the only place in the world where the parasite that killed her mother is found. The only place. And so she decides to go to this college on this island where this parasite is. And there she meets Dr. Death. And Dr. Death is fine as hell. Okay, he is so hot. And yes, you guessed it. It is Professor Student, and it is very, very good. Kari Lake does really good about plot and spice ratio. I feel like she has perfected it. She knows exactly what she's doing when it comes to plot and spice ratio. It doesn't get lost in the spice. You know what I mean? The storyline doesn't get lost in it. And the tension buildup, if there's one thing about me, I don't know if y'all know this, I live for the tension. The tension is my favorite thing in a book ever. The tension in this book is absolutely fantastic. There is a whole underlying story that you come to find out in regards to the parasite and everything. It's kind of spooky, and the vibes are dark academia. It's just so good, and it completely transported me. And the things that this man says. This was one of my top reads of last year, and I still think about it at least once a week. I love this book. Even if you are a seasoned dark romance reader, I think that you should try a Carrie Lake book because she is just phenomenal, okay? Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Can I say that word? Anyways, the third recommendation I'm going to have for you for beginner dark romance, and some may agree with me, some may not, but if you want to get more into the darker stuff, is going to be Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. Now, yes, this is the same author of the Haunting and Hunting Adeline duet, the cat and mouse duet, but this book is very, very different. This is in a subgenre of dark romance that I adore, thriller romance, okay? And it is just, oh God, it's so good. Our female main character in this book steals identities, all right? Her name is Sawyer. Is her name Sawyer? Why can I never remember the names? Yeah, her name is Sawyer. Okay, I am sorry. My brain was not working. Anyways, her name is Sawyer, and Sawyer steals identities. She is on the run from a past that we do not know about at the beginning of the book. And she decides to stop into this town that is on the ocean, all right? They live on the ocean. Well, not on the, you get what I'm saying, on land next to the ocean, whatever. Well, Sawyer decides she is going to steal this super hot man Enzo's identity. He is her next target, and they have an amazing night. Okay, it was great to read about. I had a fun time, and she decides she's going to disappear the next morning, but Enzo, he's not having it, and he has different plans for her. He ends up taking her on his boat, and a shipwreck happens. And so then they have to figure out how to get off this island with a super, super creepy lighthouse keeper. And it is absolutely fantastic. The thriller aspect of it kept me on my toes the entire time. This is actually my favorite H.D. Carlton book. I said it once, I'll say it again. It's my favorite H.D. Carlton book. I think it was so interesting and so different. And it was the first thriller romance that I had ever read. And I loved it, okay? And just so you know, this is a true enemies to lovers. It is very hard to do an enemies to lovers that is not in fantasy, that is a real enemies to lovers. Otherwise, I feel like it's just an I don't like you to lovers kind of book. But this one is absolutely fantastic. He does not like, I mean, honestly, would you like somebody who stole your identity? No. Would you fall in love with them? No. Just read it and find out about it, okay? It's so, so good. This is also good for middle. This is kind of a good segue into getting into the darker. I do know this was the first dark romance book that a friend of mine read, and she adored it. So check it out. Now we are going on to, I'd say, like a middle ground for dark romance. This is gonna be for my girlies that realize they like dark romance with the lighter stuff and want to take it a step further, but maybe not jump in all the way, okay? The Fabric of Our Souls by K.M. Moranova is absolutely fantastic. This is also a thriller dark romance. This one took me by surprise. This was actually one of the first books I read this year, and I adored it. In this book, we follow Liam and Win, okay? Win tried to herself, you know what I mean? Yeah, didn't work, obviously, because now she gets put into this mental institution and she gets set up with a roommate whose name is Liam. It is a very unorthodox place. They place people who they think would be best for your treatment plan as your roommate. And so obviously Win does not want to live, okay? But Liam does, because he's a masochist, all right? He wants her to live. He likes the pain. So at this mental institution, there have been people that have gone missing in the past, and it was never solved. The crime was never solved. So Win wants to take it upon herself to try and figure out what happened to these people, and she's digging into it and everything. And Liam and their friend Lanston are all working on it together. Crazy stuff happens at the end. I did not see the end coming. I really, really enjoyed the thriller aspect of it. And let me just tell you, Win and Liam they are hot, okay? And also, this book made me so emotional because it really touches on mental health. And I think that that is so important. If that intrigues you, check it out. And then we've got Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I was actually really scared of this book for the longest time because the original cover has two hands going like this and it has chains around them. And I was like, oh, I thought it was just gonna be all spice. It was not. So we follow Cora and Dean in this book, and Cora is the sister of Dean's fiance. All right, so Dean is engaged to Cora's sister. Dean and Cora do not like each other at all, okay? And one night, whenever she needs a ride home from the bar because she can't drive, she calls Dean because he's the only one that will answer his phone, and he comes to get her, but things do not go to plan. They get taken by a serial killer. They get stuck in his basement for such a long time and have to go through unimaginable things. And I don't want to spoil anything, so that's as far as I'm going to take it. But the bond that they have during that is actually insane. They only have each other to cling to. It's so gut-wrenching, but it does have a happy ending, so do not let it stop you. This one touches a lot on mental health and the things that we go through after a traumatic event, and it was just great. And then I do not have a physical copy of this one yet, but the first book specifically in the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent is one of my favorites. I freaking love Killian Carson. Okay, I love him so much. It is God of Malice by Rena Kent. It is the first book in the Legacy of God series, and it is so good. Okay, it is a college dark romance, and Killian is a psychopath, like an actual psychopath. And Gwendolyn, our FMC, is the sister of a rival group of, there's two colleges. Let's start over. It's hard to explain because there's so many books in this series, but there are two colleges that are right next to each other, okay? One is an American college, one is a UK college, and there are these groups of people in these colleges that are crazy, okay? They are actually crazy, and they're very rich, very, very rich. And Killian is from one, and Gwen is from the other, and they meet, and they are not supposed to be together, but he is instantly obsessed with her and will stop at nothing to have her. This is my favorite book in this series. I just love psychos. I just love them. And Killian is one of my favorite psychos. And I think that you should read this book for sure. You could put this as beginner, but I would put it in the middle, honestly, just because as the series goes on, it gets a little bit darker and a little bit darker and a little bit darker. I love it though. I think that this would be perfect for middle to beginner. And then also in the middle to darker because of the topics that are discussed in it. This is one of my favorite series of all time, the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abby. This series, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how quickly I read this series. It was so freaking good. It's a bunch of novellas, but it is sold on Amazon and I don't know if it's actually in bookstores. I'm not sure. Maybe I should check that. I don't have a physical copy of it because I want the special edition copy so bad, but it is just absolutely fantastic. There are like 6 novellas, I believe it is, and they are all on Kindle Unlimited, and you can read them back to back to back to back to back. I mean, they are quick and they are fast paced, and we follow Lana Myers. Bailey, slow down. I'm getting excited. We follow Lana Myers, and Lana is a serial killer. Yay! And you will be rooting for her, I promise. So that is why I say yay. So Lana and her brother, when they were younger, were brutally abused by the people in her town. And her brother passed away, and she decided she was going to get revenge. So she goes and she learns all of this karate and things like that, and just how to fight, really, and changes her face, like completely changes her face, and decides it's time. She's going to hunt down every single one of these people. But there is a kink in her plans. She ends up in a relationship with the lead FBI agent on her case. This woman is so intelligent. I love her. I love her. She was so smart with every single thing that she did. Lana is just a top tier FMC, and I adore her. So if you like those vibes, it is kind of like a thriller. It's not as heavy on the romance as it is the plot, but I just love it. I love it so much, and it is considered a dark romance. So I would check it out if it is something that sounds like it would interest you. Now, these are for my seasoned vets. These are for the girlies that want to be emotionally destroyed. Okay, well, okay, maybe not. Maybe that's a little too far. Don't be scared. It's so good. These are just, to me, some of the darkest of the dark. So we're going to start off with the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. It is 4 books, okay? And as the series progresses, it gets darker and darker. In the Devil's Night series, each book follows one of the 4 horsemen, which is a group of guys who, whenever they were younger, started this group of the 4 of them, and they started doing this tradition on the night before Halloween, Devil's Night, as they named it. They would just do whatever they wanted, and I do mean whatever they wanted. And it follows their love stories, all 4 books, and there are some novellas in there, but they are all absolutely fantastic. I just love them, okay? And like I said, they get darker and darker as they go, so please read the trigger warnings, but they are all interconnected, so you do have to read them in order. But I would say that these are darker because of the topics, specifically that I remember Killswitch had in them. It got pretty dark and twisty, okay? Dark and twisty. But it was very good. It was very, very good. And after that is going to have to be Haunting and Hunting Adeline. I know y'all were waiting for it, okay? I did love this duet, specifically, I think because it was one of the first dark romance series that I read. The second book did shock me, okay? So I loved the first book and I loved the second book, but the second book did take a turn, a very, very big turn. So in this book, we follow Addie and Zaid, and Zaid stalks Addie. Yeah. So if you're into that, then this would be the first, I can't even speak. Zaid has me flustered. Anyways, but if you are into that, then this is definitely the book for you. The second book, like I said, it talks about really heavy topics. I feel like everybody and their mama has read these books now, and I absolutely adore them. So if you haven't, you should definitely check them out. And then the darkest of the dark, these are in my God tier. I am obsessed with them. I love them and I hate them. And that's how you know that they are so freaking good. And honestly, I don't even know if these are, let me just tell you the name. Bailey, quit yapping. It is The Torment Duet by Dylan Page, part 1 and part 2. This is in a series of 5 books, I believe, but these are the first 2 and they follow Shay and Mina. I don't know if I would consider these dark romance because there is such heavy manipulation in these books that it had me manipulated, okay? I talk about these all the time because they are just that well written. It has a happy ending, but also not a happy ending. I don't know how to describe it. Okay, the emotions that I am personally victimized by these books. Dylan Page hurt me. I still cannot listen to the song The Night We Met by Lord Huron, however you say his name. I can't listen to it because of Dylan Page in these books. Before I go on a whole rant about these books, let me tell you what it's about. Shay and Mina are step siblings, okay? And they have been since Mina was little. Shay is a little bit older than her. I say a little bit. He's, I can't remember the age gap, but I think it's like 6 or 7 years, something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't take my word for that. But anyway, so we follow them and they are thick as thieves ever since her mom married his dad, and his dad is in a motorcycle club and Shay has joined the motorcycle club whenever he gets older. Shay's feelings for Mina kind of develop into something that they definitely should not. And Mina's very young and she's like, I say very young, she's a teenager at this point, an older teenager. And she's like, whoa. This is weird. But Shay also has mental issues because he is the enforcer for the motorcycle club that his dad and him are in. And so he has to do things that mess with his brain. And it makes him very, very crazy. I loved him and I hated him. I felt for him because he had some serious mental stuff going on. And I was like, but then other times I was just like, no, wind it up. You know? Anyways, please check your trigger warnings on this. Please, 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 please. I just sang that because it is so important for you to check your trigger warnings. They are very, very dark, but they are so, so good. I will never stop thinking about this duet. It crosses my mind at least 5 times a week. At least 5 times a week, I think about these characters. And it brought me my bestie because she messaged me after I wrecked these and now we're inseparable. So I have a special place in my heart for them. They're absolutely amazing. Dark romance is so much more than a lot of people make it out to be. A lot of people just act like it's just, you know, just spice. And don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with spice. Spice is great if that's just what you want, but I want something that's going to make me feel. A lot of times I just want to cry. Maybe I should talk to my therapist about that, but it sounds like a me problem. But it is actually just heavy topics and deep, deep love and adoration and obsession and all of the, I just love this genre so much. Sorry, take a chill pill, bring it down a notch. There are quite a few other dark romances that I have read that I love, but these are just the ones that I wanted to talk to y'all about today. I have been reading dark romance for a while now, and there are so many more out there that I cannot wait to get my grubby little hands on. I hope that you got a recommendation out of this video. I hope that you take one of these books and end up loving it. If you don't, please don't tell me. I'm sensitive. I hope that y'all have a great day. I will be making more rec type videos. So if that is something that y'all are into, let me know. Subscribe to my channel and I will hopefully never, ever, ever disappoint you. I never want to disappoint you. I literally cannot stand being a disappointment. It is my worst fear. So anyways, on that subject, I hope y'all have a great day and I will talk to you later.